The latest horror movie of Arsène Lingard's Sif is Enchanted. A man who has just returned from the army is looking forward to coming home, but instead of being greeted by his wife's warm embrace, he is met with a cold proposal for divorce. Filled with suspicion, he begins to think that his wife already has a new lover, so he starts searching for the truth. However, as his investigation deepens, the horror and strangeness he encounters far exceed his expectations. Step by step, she is dragged into an endless dark abyss. The story begins with a woman welcoming back her husband, who has just returned from a business trip. As a Navy man, he has just disembarked after a long 3-month assignment and finally returned home. Unexpectedly, his wife behaves very coldly in front of others. The husband, who is eager to reunite with her, tries to rekindle their love at the cinema, but is met only with her distance and annoyance. When they return home, the woman even proposes divorce, and the husband has no idea what mistake he has made. After much pleading, he finally persuades her to calm down for one night and discuss the matter again the next day. However, in the dead of night, the husband tries to be intimate with his wife after not seeing her for many days, but she refuses, claiming that she is on her period. Unable to suppress his desire, he goes into the bathroom to relieve himself, only to find that there is no trace of menstrual products in the house. Furious, he confronts his wife and finally confirms that she has been lying. He wants to find the other man and seek justice for himself. The little boy witnesses the turmoil in the family and quietly walks over to his mother to comfort her. The next morning, the man is awakened by noises from the kitchen. Soon after, there is a knock at the door, and Turner's assistant, Mita, is standing outside. It turns out that Mita has been in charge of taking his son to school during this time. His wife, Turner, has rented a room in a hotel to write a script, but Mita says she has never been to that hotel, which further deepens the husband's suspicions. He is eager to know the hotel's address, but Mita tells him that only Turner's superior, Wei knows it, and even hints that the hotel may be connected to Wei. After Mita leaves with the child, the neighbor, Lao Bai, shares a bizarre piece of news with Faris. Lao Bai often sees Turner going out, and every time she is followed by a mysterious black shadow. He guesses that it is some kind of evil spirit or ghost. Faris's face changes immediately after hearing this, and he coldly asks Lao Bai to leave. Neither of them notices that, at that moment, a ghostly figure is faintly visible inside the pillow. Before leaving, Lao Bai hands Faris a ghost magazine. Hinting that he might find some clues in it, Faris begins asking around, but no one knows the location of the mysterious hotel. So he has no choice but to call director Wei and ask about Turner's whereabouts. However, Wei is indifferent and warns him not to disturb Turner, saying that she is at the peak of her creativity and is highly inspired. In order to find out the truth, Faris hires a private investigator to track Wei. While he stays at home waiting for news, the second bursts forth. For news, as night falls, Mita brings Xiaodi home from school. She even tries to seduce Faris, but Xiaodi suddenly appears and interrupts her plan. While bathing Xiaodi, the child mentions that there seems to be something strange in the house. After saying that, he looks up at the ceiling, where faint black footprints begin to appear one after another. At the same time, Turner also returns home, and a quarrel between husband and wife becomes inevitable. Xiaodi seems to sense the horror that is about to happen. As the room suddenly goes dark, Faris is horrified to find that his wife has disappeared, leaving only a faint voice echoing from the corner. He hurriedly lights a candle and catches sight of his wife writhing on the ground, gasping rapidly. Faris quickly carries her back to the bed, but the sight before him frightens him once again. The pillow in the mirror actually moves by itself. Fortunately, everything soon becomes calm again. But after the lights are turned off and they fall asleep, his wife's abnormal behavior happens again. He decisively throws the pillow to the bedside, and Turner's movements come to an abrupt stop. Just as he is confused, The private detective calls with important news, informing him that he has tracked Wei to the mysterious hotel. The fact that he is at a hotel instead of sleeping at home in the middle of Utes. The night makes Ferris even more convinced that something improper is going on between them. Filled with anger, he tries to calm himself with cold water. At the same time, his wife seems to sense something and quietly leaves the room. Okay. At this moment, Xiaodi notices that the black shadow on the ceiling has quietly disappeared. Ferris takes a weapon from the detective and rushes non-stop to the hotel. Xiaodi then sees the black shadow appear in the house again. And when Ferris finally arrives at the hotel room, he finds Wei standing there alone, excitedly waving a manuscript in his hand. The manuscript contains explicit content, but his wife Turner is nowhere to be seen. In anger, Ferris gives Wei a severe beating. Then he hurries home and discovers that his son Xiaodi is still awake. He asks why, and Xiaodi replies that he wants to go to the bathroom, but he is too scared because his mother is in there. Hearing this, Ferris rushes into the bathroom, only to find his wife lying unconscious in the bathtub. Okay? He quickly removes the blood-stained pillow and gently carries his wife back to bed. Ferris is filled with doubt and wants to know from his son how his wife disappeared and reappeared, but Xiaodi hides under the blanket and remains silent, as if fear has gripped his heart tightly. Ferris can only comfort his son and put him to sleep first. In the dead of night, Turner, dressed in red, leaves the house in the pouring rain with the help of a ghostly figure behind her, then gets into a passing taxi. Okay? When the driver sees her out so late at night and dressed so provocatively, he cannot help but have improper thoughts. But just as he reaches out to touch her, he is horrified to discover that there is also a ghost sitting in the back seat, staring at him coldly. Turner arrives at the brightly lit hotel and happens to be seen by a lurking private investigator. Hoping for a bigger reward, he follows Turner into the hotel without hesitation. But Turner has already noticed his presence, and eventually the detective loses sight of her in the hotel corridor. Dan says, then he hears faint moaning coming from one of the rooms. The detective quietly approaches the door and finds that it is slightly open. As he slowly pushes it open, he sees Turner standing alone by the bed. The detective lies, claiming that he is the hotel manager and has come to inspect the room facilities. As he speaks, he searches around the room, trying to find Turner's hidden companion, but finds nothing. Just as he turns around, a ghost flashes by. He looks at Turner again, and lust rises in his heart. Just as he is about to assault her, a sudden noise comes from the bathroom. Startled, the detective immediately hurries over to check what is going on. At the same time, Ferris wakes from his sleep and finds black liquid dripping from the ceiling, leaving disturbing marks behind. He immediately realizes that something is wrong. So he rushes to ask his neighbor Lao Bai for help. Lao Bai carefully examines the fading traces and finds another clue on Turner's comb, a strand of fallen hair. From these details, Lao Bai arrives at an answer. He believes that Turner is being controlled by some kind of curse, causing her behavior to be completely beyond her own control. Ferris begins searching for the source of the curse and finally finds the answer on a videotape. In it, Rita tells Turner that she has feelings for her husband and proposes spending the night with Ferris. As expected, but Rita still refuses to give up, saying that she has a way to make Turner feel an unprecedented thrill. Seeing this, Ferris finally understands what is going on. It seems that Rita is the one behind everything. He immediately drives to the hotel. At that moment, inside the hotel room, Wei is pressuring Turner to quickly write another copy of the manuscript because he has not received it on time. Suddenly, he is frightened by the appearance of a ghost. When Ferris reaches the entrance of the hotel, he witnesses Wei's tragic fall from the building. Ferris enters the elevator again and encounters a strange old woman. The old woman suddenly speaks, saying that the most terrifying and dangerous one is coming. Ferris is confused and in the very next second, the old woman suddenly disappears. He quickly rushes to the hotel room, picks up Turner, who has fallen unconscious, and drives her home. Nick, following Lalbai's instructions, the room is arranged in preparation for an exorcism ritual for Turner. During the ceremony, Lalbai suggests checking whether Turner's body is hiding some kind of evil entity. At this time, Ferris pins Mita against the wall. In a low voice, Mita says that she is willing to sacrifice her body and begs him to spare his wife, Turneri. But before she can finish speaking, a cold presence fills the whole room. The ghost suddenly appears and possesses Mita. Then Mita runs outside under the ghost's control, bends her waist unnaturally, moves forward in a twisted posture, and repeatedly smashes her head against the road. Finally, with a scream, Mita loses her life. Inside the room, Lalbai is about to do something shameful when Faris pushes open the door and catches him in the act. He shoves Lalbai to the ground, but at that moment, the lights suddenly go out and everything falls into darkness. Turner disappears once again, as if swallowed by the dark, and Lalbai is also possessed by the ghost in this terrifying atmosphere. Like a beast, he rushes out of the room. Ferris quickly lights a candle, goes after him, and finally puts an end to Lalbai, who is now entangled by the ghost. But when Ferris returns to the room, the same bizarre scene happens again. Ferris sees the demon's true form and faints on the spot. When he wakes up again, he finds himself tied up in a theater. Beside him lie the corpses of 4 dead people, and his wife, possessed by the demon, is pointing a gun at him. This is where the movie ends, and evil desire makes everyone pay the price they deserve.